Namaste, Jai Bharat. Out of the blue, one news suddenly comes up saying that Israel, of all people in the world, have recognized Somalia Land. Somalia, we know, and there's a difference between Federal Republic of Somalia and this so-called Somalia Land. They're different, and Somalia Land had been claiming autonomy for something like 35 years. It's not yesterday. But there are no Arab nations. Because of Arab nations, even others are prepared to accept Somaliland as a separate state nation. But they had been independent of the Federal Republic of Somalia for all these 34 years plus or so. And suddenly Israel gives some recognition as a nation, and Somaliland in turn accepts Israel as a nation. That has been done. So many things happen behind the curtain. For instance, let us take the case of Sudan. Sudan is horizontally divided, now is about to be vertically divided. The horizontal division was not difficult, because that was a division between the Muslims and Christians in Sudan. This, of course, the Arab world agreed. The Arab world in general do not want Muslim nations to fall apart, in spite of the fact that there are many differences. Fundamentally, something like Shia, Sunni, etc., and many such sects. So, that division, north-south, that's Christian Sudan and Muslim Sudan, that was there. Now, what has evolved from that or after that is the Christian state remains Christians, it's fine. But again, among the Muslims, there is a difference, that is the Arab Muslims and the non-Arab Muslims. Now, if we start digging into differences, one is bound to go to infinite regress. This is never going to end. So there is a distinction between the Arab descendants, Muslim descendants, they say, I really don't know how close it is to reality, the Arab descendants, Muslims, and the non-Arab. This is going to be vertical division. This the Arab world is not going to accept, because they do not want the Islamic world to be divided from within, naturally. That's natural. So this is one thing that happens in Africa. Now come back to Somalia. Why is it that suddenly Israel is recognizing Somalia Land? There must have been some discussions between them. The point is that Israel had been struggling ever since its inception. And the famous slogan in Israel is that if the Muslims put their weapons down, there shall not be any terrorism. But if Israel puts their weapons down, there shall not be an Israel. And I agree with them, they are correct. They cannot afford not to fight, because the persistent, destructive forces of terrorism is ever prevalent in Israel. They have to fight, come what may. Otherwise, they will cease to exist. Israel is correct. One has to agree with that if you are sensible. Now, what is the final ambition of Israel? They want a place to live. After all, if you agree with the Bible, it's a promised land. It's a promised land. That the promise is a covenant. 3 covenants. Covenants of son, covenant of land, and covenant of sacrifice, if you go theologically. I'm taking from the Torah. From Torah onwards, other things come much after. So for them, it's a promised land, and the theological aspects is known to people. And their wish is Israel from sea to sea. The river, Jordan River, is not creating any division. It's a river within Israel. Not that this side, that side, this bank, that bank, no. So Israel wants sea to sea, the unified, complete Israel, which is promised land for them. But then Palestinians are people, those who have migrated. They are not originally from that place. They have migrated in time, whatever may be the reasons. So, on the one hand, Israel wants to snub terrorists. Their main terrorists are Hamas, Hezbollah. Those people are there, but they want to control and finish terrorism. And Hamas is also like that. They will not push their weapon down, and so long as they have weapon, they will continue fighting, because these people had only been doing this terrorist operation in their entire life, and they do not know anything else. They have never had a life without being a terrorist. You can't employ them in a factory and ask him to make balloons tomorrow. They can't. They never used to. They have never been trained, and they do not know anything else. That's the situation of Hamas, or any terrorist group for that matter. The only thing they know is to be a terrorist and do terrorism. So Hamas has to be snubbed, destroyed. Bahu Kokruk. That Israel is prepared to do that. And what will happen to the Palestinians? Not all people living there are terrorists. They need to be deported to a place where somebody will accept them. Israel might provide for them, obviously, but someone must accept them. The Federal Republic of this place, Somalia, Federal Republic of Somalia, refused to accept this so-called refugees. But Europe had accepted Syrians, why not? Or all refugees. So Somalia, the Federal Republic did not accept. Now somehow Israel got the Somalia Land, which is separate, to accept possibly Palestinian refugees. Let's call them as refugees. They have land. They are already impoverished. But then with the refugees going there, they have land, and Israel are great agriculturalists. They have turned deserts to vegetable gardens. They have that technology, they have that will. And they are hardworking, not lazy bums. If Somaliland accepts people from Palestine, Israel will provide for them, and most likely, they will make some headway. I'm not telling they will thrive, but if they are prepared to work, Israel will support. I do not know how hardworking the people of Palestine are, how enthusiastically working there, I don't know. But then if they are able to work, mix, like Marx says, mix their labor with materials to create production, well, they can do better. Somalia Land may be better than the Federal Republic of Somalia, but then this the Arab world doesn't like. They don't want to Somalia Land to be friendly with Israel for reasons. They themselves are friendly otherwise. And then if it turns out to be a rotten case, then there will be war in Africa, which should not be the case. But then there will be possibility. And I don't know if the Arab world would attack Israel. They won't, as the case stands. They won't, not necessary, and they can't afford it. That's a matter of fact. But then unrest is there. Unrest shall be there. Disputes shall be there. Conflicts also shall be there. So let's hope something better evolves out of it. Something better evolves out of it. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Siya Ram.